I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is the AEW Dynamite After Show coming to you live from all across Southern California. And we got a show for you, but before we get to all the shenanigans, hijinks, and flim-flam, let me introduce the amazing crew I get to work with. First up, he is the Law Doctor. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Roger Corral.
Am I still on your far left?
You're on this side to me.
That's where I'm pointing at, pointing downwards right here on my angle.
All right. This is a bad Brady Bunch show. So here's the story. Next up, we have the indie darling herself. Let's hear it for Anissa Barr.
Yeah. I have my John Moxley shirt on.
Oh.
Finally found it, but he was on TV.
Very important.
Yes, very important.
And, you know, he may still be hailing from inside the booth. They don't let me in, so I don't know what it looks like in there. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Josh Alonzo.
What's going on, y'all? It's really weird to be on this side of the spectrum. Usually I'm in the booth, but this time I'm in my room in my house. So
you're like,
really
there's light.
There's light. Oh my goodness. What's going on here?
And of course, we need to give a very special shout out to Rye Guy, who's running all the producer stuff for today. So we get to have Josh hang out as a guest, as a host. So I'm excited to have you on, Josh. Thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure. And what an episode to join on. I mean, just unbelievably good episode. Despite not being any fans there, amazing show.
Yeah, and you know, I'm glad you said that because I want to open up. You know, as usual, we do our overall thoughts to kick things off, but I do want to touch base on just obviously a lot of stuff going on in the world. No one in the audience, everyone kind of on lockdown. What do you guys think about AEW doing shows like this? What are your thoughts on everything going on in the world? I feel like we need to touch on it, right? Let's get it out there. What's everyone thinking?
Let's touch.
Well, not touch.
6 feet. 6 feet.
I honestly, it's funny. I came in with notes. I was prepared. I saw Jim Alexander covering the Raw AfterBuzz show, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, Jim Alexander's completely right. I'm going in hard on Wednesday, but no, this was such an amazing show, and they truly managed to like get our minds off of everything that's happening. And you know what it was? It doesn't feel cringe and it doesn't feel desperate. It feels like a family, and it feels like a family is like uniting, and they're like, we're gonna do this together, and if we all get sick together, we go down together, and if we succeed together. And that's, I feel like they made us feel like a part of that.
Yeah. I definitely agree with Roger there. And having the other AEW wrestlers at ringside, just cheering them on and actually act as support as a crowd was amazing. Like, I was thinking, me personally, like watching the coverage for like SmackDown and Raw and NXT, you know, NXT last week did it and they did have some fans, but for the past two, Roger said, supporting each other like a family, which I thought was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really liked the one side was heel, one side were faces. I thought that was really combined, but as someone who attends a lot of indie shows, I feel like this is what, not, I don't want to say this is what they're used to, but this is what they have experienced, where 5-10 people will show up and they'll still put on a great show, no matter how many people are in the crowd. So I feel compared to WWE, it's my take on that.
Anissa, did you feel at home?
I'm sorry?
Did you feel at home like an indie show?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, you know, watching this, you know, obviously I work, you know, we all work in the entertainment industry. I personally, you know, my bread and butter is in live events. And so it's something in live events, you always hear the phrase, and we've all heard it, the show must go on. And I always thought I knew what that meant. I thought it was like, if things get tough, you keep on going. I always think of a time when I was DJing an event and my pants split all the way from the back down to the back of my knee, but I had to keep going. Show must go on because you want people to be happy. Tonight, tonight I learned a new definition for what the show must go on means, because I didn't realize just how badly I needed this episode until it started, and to just take my mind off of everything that's going on and to just be a part of this fun show. To me, I don't know if the guys and girls that put this show on will ever truly appreciate just how powerful it was for them to give us something for 2 hours to escape from all the craziness in the world right now. So kudos to AEW and the amazing job they did tonight, because it was fantastic. It was a great show
Truly
all
was.
around, I thought. Speaking of which, the show started off with Cody coming out to the ring and cutting a promo, first kind of on the situation, and then slowly segueing into building up for the main event. And right off the bat, I love the fact that they embraced almost that there was no crowd. He wasn't out there like yelling into the microphone and trying to like do call and responses. He was talking very plainly and matter of factly, and everyone else did as well. Just from the promo standpoint, how do you guys feel Cody did, being sort of the ambassador of the brand to the rest of us?
I think Cody has such a knack for speaking to people. Like, if he wanted to be a motivational speaker, he could. And I think a
Mhm.
lot of that comes from, I mean, we know how he felt working for the WWE. He always felt like he wanted to be more. And I think once he left that company, he was determined to show everyone. And it shows in every promo. And it shows, again, like I said, it feels like family. Like when he's talking to you on the camera and when like he brings out his fellow wrestlers, it feels like we're all united in this. And I think you're right. You don't realize how much you need it. I've been quarantined since like Friday. Like I'm
Yeah.
trying to see the sun. I'm trying not to go out, and it felt like such a relief. And Cody does such a good job of conveying that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Anissa, I want to get your take on this. We talked about how it kind of felt like an indie show, but personally, I popped when the fireworks went off and all the production was still there. They didn't shortchange a single thing. How did you feel about the overall presentation, the look of the show tonight?
Well, if Cody Rhodes ever runs for president, I'm gonna vote for him because he knows how
Yeah,
to talk.
yeah.
And pretty much, I just felt like he was so motivating everybody. Like nobody was there, and for somebody to have that type of to speak like that with the crowd, without a crowd, it's a lot of, kudos to Cody for doing that. And not only that, but people behind the scenes, the production crew, people who set up the ring, you got to thank them too for still putting on a show.
And
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like they have everyone working, right? Like they have all the production crew, they have the camera crew, they have the color commentators. So if you're going in, go in. You know, like you have the pyro there, you have all the special effects there. Just act like it's a big show, and they did that.
Yeah, and of course they used that time to really talk about the main event, which was the 6-man tag team match playa. And of course the match being, oh my goodness, this is
I'm
the
like
best
waiting for
night
you.
Empty
ever. I
clutch.
love
He
it.
came
We
through
at least
clutch.
have to get that in somehow. Even if I'm not in the booth personally, if I'm here, you're gonna hear this for every match
Coming to
tonight.
get it on.
Just know that.
I love you, Josh. You're the best. So yeah, they get this match going, Proud and Powerful and Jake Hager versus Cody, Matt Jackson, and Hangman Adam Page. I just got to start off first. Sammy Guevara singing along with the intro music. Again, this is another moment where they embrace the fact that there was no crowds there. And they said, let's make it fun. Let's play with the fact that there's no one here. But this match, of course, it was great. Josh Alonzo, let me hear your thoughts on the big main event.
I definitely did love the fact that Sammy Guevara was doing a little bit of a karaoke shtick at the beginning right there. I mean, especially when he started forgetting some of the words and he started mumbling. He was just like, oh, Judas and I mean, how relatable is that? Any concert you go, regardless if you're a massive fan of it, you're going to forget some of the words sometimes. So just on a relatable note, awesome right there. But the match overall was really great. I definitely did like the inner circle's dominance throughout the match. They were just like not allowing any offense on the side of the Elite. So for me, just really establishing that motion and asserting that dominance of the inner circle en route to their match at Blood and Guts, I think was really cool.
Something I want to mention, Jericho wasn't in the match, but he was the color commentator. And I didn't
Yeah,
realize it, but he has beaten everyone in the elite, right? Like
yeah,
that's impressive.
that's huge. And it's a big deal. And I love that he kept reiterating, we've never hit each other on accident with each other's moves. He did say a few times they've never been drinking on the job, but I've seen some bubbly get poured on the job. But I still thought he did a great job of really selling that match and like not just burying the other team, saying they're a good team. They're just not as good as the Inner Circle. And of course, the Inner Circle came out ahead tonight. Um, but that wasn't the story after this match. The story came after the match, which I haven't had a chance to look at Twitter. I'm sure it's blowing up all over the place. Anissa Barr, you know what? Why don't you go ahead and chat about it? Tell us about what happened after the match.
Well, a drone flew in the arena. I mean,
Yeah.
the government's controlling everybody, so apparently they're controlling PW too. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, all joke, all that aside, when I saw that, I'm just like, okay, this is awesome. And then when the piano was playing, my first thought was like, okay, is Rebby Hardy playing of the piano somewhere? Where is she? And then obviously we saw Matt Hardy, and just the facial expressions he gave really gave the delete. And I'm so excited
Mm-hmm.
because now that Matt Hardy has his freedom to use the delete character in AEW, and I'm very excited to see what will happen with Blood and Guts with Matt Hardy a part of the elite.
Yeah, I loved the cinematography here, or the camera work here, and again embracing the fact that there was no one there with him in the stands by himself with all the lights hitting him and the piano playing. These guys just get presentation at a level that I don't think anyone else does in going right now. It's so good. Something I was thinking is you've got these guys who have made Being the Elite. You've got the Road to series by Cody Rhodes. And now you've got Matt Hardy, who has done, I mean, I think his videos have all had different names depending on what company he's in. Free the Delete's the most recent. You've got these guys who have done these things on their own. Roger, do you think this is having a huge impact on the way they're able to film during these times and kind of handle the situation?
You know what this shows? I think WWE really hampers down the whole Twitter universe deal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I don't think they're that well versed in social media. And I think
Mm-hmm.
the current situation shows that. I think Matt Hardy has been like honing his craft, like creating this character online and creating such a fan base. And this company allows him to actually like expand on that. The minute I saw a drone, I was like, oh, that's Matt Hardy. And that's because
Yeah.
he has a following. Like we all follow these shows. And in situations like this, it allows us to still be invested. You know, if for some reason we don't have wrestling next week, we know that these guys are still going to put out a product because they love
Mm-hmm.
doing that online. It comes natural to them.
I would like to correct you. You probably did not just say, "Oh, it's Matt Hardy." You're like, "Oh, it's
Oh,
Matt Hardy."
oh, it's Matt Hardy.
It's like, I think with, like, to your credit, Jack, when you're saying about the cinematography and everything and the presentation, I think without the audience there, that made it a whole lot stronger because you're solely focused on Matt Hardy and his his general just body gestures and everything. With the crowd would have been there, yeah, absolutely would have been a huge pop in that part. But then without the crowd and just solely all the attention on Matt Hardy, I think this made it just 100 times even better, including just looking at Chris Jericho's expressions. He was scared ishless, essentially. He was
Yeah.
just like selling it so well. He was just looking at Matt Hardy as someone just like, oh man, we're screwed now.
And then you have to give
Yeah.
credit to the commentators who added on to this
Yeah.
segment
Mhm.
because that, I mean, can we have Taz every single week? I
Oh,
personally like having Taz on commentary.
Cass is such an underrated commentator, and I'm so glad they signed him.
Thank you, Roger, for somebody saying that because I think Taz is probably one, in my opinion, one of the greats with commentary.
Exactly, and it's great that he's paired up with Excalibur and JR, because I loved Taz when he was paired up with Jim Ross back in the SmackDown days in the Ruthless Aggression area. That was
Yeah.
honestly the best commentating team at the time, and I'm so glad that they're reunited. And with Excalibur on the other hand, right there, with his knowledge of the indie scene and everything, that's just like a trio you do not want to mess with.
And I do want to add, Jericho had Excalibur on his podcast. So everyone who's in the chat, please listen. They talk about PWG and how that was created. So just want to add that because, hey,
yeah,
we got time.
Got time.
I mean, what else are you doing? Speaking of checking things out, here at AfterBuzz, we are incredibly thankful for you guys taking the time to join us and be a part of this, especially during this time. I mean, I'll be honest, this is something I love doing in general, but especially these days, it's nice to be able to have this sort of escape and way to sort of do something and focus on something that's fun and chat with some people that I love to chat about. So thank you guys so much for, making us the ESPN of TV talk and the reviews and the 5 stars and all that stuff that we always have to say. But particularly in this day and age, you guys, I just want you all to know you're incredibly appreciated. And I love getting to spend a couple hours with you guys. So thank you for that. You know what else I'm thankful for, you guys?
Wow.
I am thankful that we got to see who the Exalted One is today.
Yes.
Now, Anissa, you already had your chance to say who Someone Baby was. So now we're going to pass it on over to Roger, who's over to my, well, I guess looking, it's my right, but I guess on TV, it looks like my left, right? Anyway, so Roger, walk us through the Exalted One finally arriving.
He finally arrived, and we had theories. Jessica had a theory that it might have been Christopher Daniels messing with it in his own head. We had a lot of theories. I kind of wanted this to go all the way to like October. They decided to pull through with it, and to everyone, I still think it's to everyone's shock, we got Brodie Lee back. Like Brodie Lee back. He's wrestling. He looks good. He looks healthy, and when you think about it, he is the Exalted One. He was underappreciated. This is a guy that no one knows how to use this guy to his proper abilities. Probably one of the best big guys out there in the wrestling scene. And the Dark Order sees that in him, and now we get to see it too.
Yeah, I agree. I thought this is, so a lot of debuts happened today, and every one of them was fantastic. But this one to me really stuck out because, one, as you mentioned, Roger, Brodie Lee is the quintessential person who would join the Dark Order because he has been misused and beaten down and forgotten about. And he sounded so dangerous in that video promo. I love the way he talked. I love the way he slowly came forward into the light. I loved everything about this. Josh Alonzo, are you ready for some Brodie Lee?
I am, and especially the one thing where I saw the video promo coming up. You hear the voice distortion of it, and you're trying to guess, okay, who could it be? Who could it be? Who could it be?
Yeah.
And then you hear the distortion go lower and lower and lower. And then my original thought was like, okay, no accent. It can't be Matt Hardy. So it's got to be. And then next thing you know, hood comes down, Brodie Lee. I'm just like, oh my goodness. What a great catch for this. And especially the promo was amazing, especially taking a little bit of a jab at WWE where he said, I felt like one older guy didn't appreciate me. I'm not going to let another older guy de-appreciate me right there. So it's like a nice little jab at his old company. So shots fired right there, if you can say that. But I am super excited. The potential matches that Brodie Lee can have with everyone in AEW. I kind of want to see him against Hangman Page. I think that would be a really great match right there.
Yeah, I'm absolutely super pumped for this. Anissa, Brodie Lee's name was on a short list of people who could be the Exalted One for a long time. So seeing him here, there was a surprise, obviously, but he was always on a short list. Did it still feel like it was worth the wait? Did it feel like it delivered the build that it got?
In my opinion, yes. When
that's the right answer.
Showed up, I forgot, because so much is happening in the world. I really forgot, and then I saw, I'm like, oh my god, yes. And then just like Josh said earlier, so many matches like he can have with people. For me personally, him versus Moxley because they have a history back in
Ooh.
CCW. So I want
Yeah.
and relive those type of matches again, but for me, I was so excited. I like his new ring gear. I like the jacket. It kind of gave me like Miz vibes, but way better.
Wait, didn't the
Just-
Shield fight the Wyatt family too?
Yes.
yeah.
There's some history there.
So there's a lot of history with Brodie Lee, not only with Moxley, but with some of these other professional wrestlers in AEW. If you go look back at his old indie days.
Yeah, something that I think was really great about this and how I know it was really good is instantly for me, the Dark Order is a world title main event threat now. They
Exactly.
went, their trajectory was totally like, okay, kind of joke stable, okay, kind of mid card stable. And now suddenly it's like, yeah, they could go right after John Moxley. They could go, it wouldn't shock me if they took out the Inner Circle at this point. This made them a legit threat. And as Brodie Lee says, nobody's safe anymore because this was exactly how you do it.
You know,
Um,
you know
I
what's
think
funny? If you go through like all of our AfterBuzz episodes, like you're right, or the trajectory of the Dark Order based on our reactions every week,
mhm,
it's kind of gone like this. And then there's times when
yeah,
it's dipped, and we're like, wait, what the hell is that? And then now we're
yeah,
back to good.
yeah. And I think it's just a testament to just how good of and how patient the storytelling is in AEW. And I think the reason it felt very low and like it wasn't that important is because they knew they had to keep it on the back burner while other things were going, and they knew this was going to happen. I think they're just really good at strategically moving and placing things as they need to for these kind of things. And speaking of things that have been moving and growing and getting better, Penelope Ford, Riho, Hikaru Shida, and Chris Statlander four-way match. I'm saying I think that the women's division has quietly been rebuilt into a pretty solid
Mhm.
set of wrestlers. Josh, how do you feel about the women's division?
The division itself was really great, like on cart face value and everything. Some of the matches have been great, and there's other matches that have been a little bit under the radar. But this match was really great, just straight to the point. Just as short of the match it was just pretty much just full force, just like 60 from the get go. It did not let up, and then so many like great points in the match, especially with Penelope Ford hitting that poison Rana onto Chris Stadlander, and then Chris Stadlander
So
just
cool.
completely dying outside the ring was just so amazing. Just a high paced match. Really loved it, and then just everyone just had their chance to shine, which was great.
I could see any four of them challenging for the title and believing it. And I could also see people like Britt Baker and Big Swole go after the title. They've got a solid division at this point. Um, Something that happened though after the match, and I want to jump to it. We can go back to the women's match, but I'm thinking about it right now, and I want to talk about it. Colt Cabana after the match,
Boom,
Oh,
boom.
boom, boom. Again, they played on the fact that there's no people there because he was like talking about Kip Sabian getting involved, and Kip was like, "Hey, I can hear you." And then I love one of the best lines, man. Boom, boom, Cabana being involved, and that whole dust up. Anyone take it?
I think Boom Boom is great. I feel like I actually we've all known this if you follow wrestling. I mean, he's honestly, I think sometimes he's better known as a podcaster than a wrestler. He's
mhm.
a
Yeah.
great talker. Like the guy
Hmm.
knows how to like cut a promo, and he could probably put Kip Sabian really over if they keep developing this program. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. And I mean, it didn't not help that the women's match was also phenomenal. Like it literally was, I think it was like a 10-12 minute match, but it was just nonstop. Like it kept going at it. And honestly, I think we needed Riho, guys. I miss Riho.
She was great. She
She
was
doesn't
great.
have a bad match.
She was absolutely great. Did you enjoy the match aspect of it, Anissa?
I did. For me, I'm really happy that the fans were able to see Penelope Ford tonight because we don't get to see her, and she's very talented. Like I've mentioned before, like she's so good at wrestling,
Mhm.
and so are the other women. But I feel tonight was for Penelope Ford really shined, and of course we have Kip Sabian and Colt Cabana. But if it goes Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford versus Coco Cabana mystery partner. I wonder who he will bring too. But there's, it's too soon to tell. But I do hope that we get to see a Coco Cabana versus Kip Sabian storyline or match.
You guys do keep pushing the intergender matches. I see you.
Oh, I
Kip
love
Sabian.
wrestling.
Yeah,
It's my favorite.
I agree. I'm with Anissa on this one. We don't agree a whole lot, Anissa, but this is one we agree on. And I was going to say, I think Kip Sabian is the key to that whole thing, because you'll notice over the past few weeks, he has been dusting it up with some of the female wrestlers, and he makes them look. I mean, they're great. I don't want to make it sound like he's making them look great, but you know what I mean. Like it comes across believable and well done every time he interacts with them. And Penelope Ford with a quiet win over Riho on AEW Dark. So if you didn't check that out, that's a good one to check out as well. Speaking of checking things out, I feel like today we got the true debut of the Murder Hawk. Lance, I like the name Murder Hawk. I'm just gonna call him Murder Hawk. That's a cool name. And Jake the Snake.
I mean, you got the Hawk and Snake connection right there. I mean, it's
Hawk and Snake, baby.
Hawk and Snake.
I think he's such a great mouthpiece for him. And I don't even know if Lance Archer needs a mouthpiece, but again, they always find a way to make everyone fit. Like, I kind of had given up on Sean Spears a while back, and now I'm back on that ride too. So, I mean, it's phenomenal. Great.
Yeah, I love the fact that Jake the Snake sounds kind of old. I feel like actually makes it sound more scary.
He sounds like in the movie The Wrestler. It's like, oh, guys.
Yeah, he's like, shut me up if you can, but I don't think you can. It wasn't supposed to be personal, but now it is.
But it is.
My one gripe is because Jake the Snake's so big, you can't see really how big Murder Hawk is when they stand next to each other. We saw Tony standing next to him. You're like, ooh, this is a big boy. They did a video after this, and I was gonna break it down. I was gonna talk about what we saw in this video with Lance Archer, but I was like, you know what? We have someone who's an expert on that kind of wrestling presentation. Anissa Barr, they're in the backyard duking it out with a bunch of people gathered around the ring. Tell us what you thought about this little peek into the history of old Lance Archer.
I don't know anything about backyard wrestling, so I have no comment.
This was your moment, Anissa.
We prepared 10 minutes. We had 10 minutes dedicated just for this.
No. I didn't get it. I didn't get this. I didn't.
Oh wait, you didn't like it?
I didn't like it.
Oh wow.
Wait, why?
I am shocked. I thought you'd love this. I was like, this is made for Anissa right now.
No.
I didn't tweet about it because I wanted to talk to you about it first.
No, I mean, it wasn't for me. I mean, I don't know. It felt like a backyard wrestling, which is fine, but I just don't. Just wasn't really into me. I didn't really get it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it looked cool, him being in this very scary backyard where I'm sure people have been murdered before.
Well, it's not called the scary place. I love the name of the place. It's called the Murder Hawk Mansion. Think about that. Murder Hawk Mansion. I mean, oh my goodness. Like, how scary can that be? It's insane.
If I got an invite there, I'd be like, sorry, social distancing, can't go over to your house. Speaking of social distancing, if you were on the outside of that ring and you saw this dude just crush like 15 people in a row, why would you get in the ring too? I'd be like, whoa, like he just wiped out a whole group of people. I'm out. Dude looks tougher than I am.
I mean, there must have been some type of incentive to go in a ring with someone called Murder Hawk. It's just like, oh, we'll give you like $500 to see if you could go up against him. All right, let's see how that can't be that bad. Then of course they get their asses kicked.
I'm not trying to be negative, but this segment reminds me of like one of those squash matches where they're trying to make this guy look so tough, which is totally fine because that's what they're trying to show us, is that this guy is so strong he'll take out anybody. But I just didn't really understand why he was in the woods
beating up little people. Yeah,
in the woods, beating people.
I think
it was a mansion, not the woods.
You know why I didn't mind it? We kind of have a lot. We've said this before. We're really villain heavy in this company, and now we're really like dark character heavy. I mean, just based on tonight, we had Matt Hardy, we had Brodie Lee, and then we had Lance Archer. Like honestly, like that's too dark for me sometimes. and so I like that each one is a little unique. You know, this is a guy that he won't fly a drone and he won't stalk you that way and he won't try to recruit you in a cult, but he will murder you in his backyard. So, you know, like,
Yeah,
take your pick.
he did have that like kind of carny feel to
Very
him,
corny.
like he travels with the circus and murders people in every town he goes to. He just had that vibe to me. He seemed intense and scary, and I don't know who's. Well, I guess Cody's going to be the poor guy that takes the first round with him. Cody quietly also letting people look good in matches. Him losing to Jericho, losing to MJF, and now
And
I mean,
he was Sean Spears' first match. Going back to that, I think Cody
mhm,
is like the guy that, like, you know, when you enter the team, you got to prove yourself, and that's a guy
yeah,
you got to go through.
It's like
I
his
think
initiation.
He's the initiation,
yeah,
yeah.
I think Cody's kind of like win or lose. I mean, Cody,
they,
man,
You have to fight.
come on.
they give you Pink Belly behind the scenes,
Yeah.
and then they give you Cody.
I think out of everyone in AEW, I think Cody
Belly.
Rhodes can take the loss and it won't affect him whatsoever as far as booking wise. Because you
Yep.
can place him with anything. He makes anyone look great. And even in defeat, he'll push anyone to the moon. And it's not a problem if he takes a loss because he
Which
can
is
always get the sympathy of the crowd anytime.
very similar to The
Hmm.
Rock. It reminds me of The Rock. I don't
Exactly.
remember how many matches The Rock won, but I remember they were all great and fun. And
Mhm.
that's what Cody
Yeah.
reminds me of.
Well, I think going back to what we kind of talked about at the beginning is he is just plugged into the emotion aspect of the people watching. And so I think even if he loses, it's not like, oh, he's a loser. He loses all the time. I think we as viewers feel that and like, oh, we're devastated he lost. Like, I hope he comes back because you're rooting for him still instead of just being like, oh, he lost his past 3 matches, whatever. He's a loser. You know, like, oh, we want him to, we want to cheer for him. We want him to keep going. And I think that's where he does so well is he just plays into those plays into that fact that we have an emotional connection to
And I'm excited
him.
for every match. So again, more than likely that's going to be Lance Archer's first opponent, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, and so speaking of things I am excited about, we have a trio, a newer trio who came out tonight. Well, they didn't debut or come out tonight, but Lucha Brothers. I'm getting to the Death Triangle. I'm trying to remember how to say it in Spanish.
Triángulo de muerte.
Yeah, it's so cool
Yeah.
in Spanish. I love it. They have a
That's how you
sweet
say it.
shirt, by the way.
Oh,
Uh, like total heavy metal shirt there. The Death Triangle. DDP's like gimmick infringement. We got a little promo video for them, which was really cool. I have a feeling as things go the way they are right now, we're gonna get a lot of these videos of like Lance Archer did, like this hype video for the Death Triangle. But they had a match. The match was great, them and best friends, but I don't know. I kind of feel like Orange Cassidy on commentary was so entertaining. Coming to get it on. I don't know where we're at in the song.
Guys, we dance so much on this show. I miss it.
Yeah. Orange Cassidy killed it on commentary. Did you guys like that? I thought he was really good. He should come back more often.
the crowd definitely popped when he came out. When he came out, everything was just like,
What I was living, like the moment that I was like, you know what, life is gonna be great no matter what happens in the world, was when MJF, you could hear him audibly saying, "Strut it out," as Pentagon was dancing. I was like, oh, it's
Whoever
gonna be
decided
okay.
to put MJF in the front row, genius.
oh
Genius.
yeah.
Genius. It was so good. As I alluded to in the beginning, those guys in the crowd really made it, just heckling each other and cheering each other. Such a simple way to make something great that could have been a deterrent. The Death Triangle went over on the best friends here. And they kind of had to. They're a new team, so they kind of had to win. Post-match promo, you kicked my friend in the dick.
Line of the year.
What a great line.
Zero filter, just went for it right there. No pun intended.
We don't get an explicit tag for that, do we? I hope not. Too late now, I guess.
Different rules now.
I think we're okay.
challenging to a street fight, which I think is a really good way, or a parking lot fight, which is a smart way to get around the whole idea of the audience, because that's a big fight that can take place where there's not an audience, right?
I like that he clarified that it's not in the middle of a street. It's gonna be like, you know, he's like, no, never mind. It's gonna be like in a parking lot, not in the middle of a street.
Yeah, I feel like they did a few things to kind of build around that scenario, the scenario that they're working with. I thought that was really smart of them to do those things. So when they have that match in a parking lot, we're not like, oh, there's no crowd. It's like, because there wouldn't have been a crowd anyway, right?
Mm-hmm. And can I just say, there's been no sports at all. I mean, as we all know, I was watching a cornhole competition on ESPN a few days ago.
Cornhole,
like, there's nothing happening. And I had one of my friends text me and say, like, hey, that wrestler just said they kicked him in the dick. And I was like, oh, you're watching AEW. This guy doesn't even watch wrestling. So I think, you know, these guys are like on national TV, and there's probably a lot of new eyes that are checking out these people. So the first impression they get of Chuck Taylor is this. Good for him.
Yeah, I thought it was great. Something else I thought was great. We had Butcher and the Blade and the Bunny going against the Jurassic Express, coming to get it on. And I like that they have the loose affiliation with MJF still. I like that they kept that going. Butcher and the Blade came up short again. I love the look of this team. They look legit. They look scary. They look like they would really just beat the hell out of you if they had to. Josh, what's going on with this team? Why aren't they winning?
I don't know. I think there has to be a team within any wrestling organization that has to be the whipping boy in a sense, where they just have to take the losses for every other team. It is what it is. You're not going to have every tag team in the organization be successful and everything. You're going to have some that are going to be the jobbers. So even if it's someone that looks as scary and as credible and maybe as tough looking as Butcher and the Blade, hey, if they're going to be the whipping boys, then so be it. I mean, I think in the long run, they will rebound from this loss and everything like that. But for right now, they're just going to be a low mid-tier like type of team right there. I mean, they're doing a really great job at elevating Jurassic Express and just really just amping them up a whole lot more, especially since Marco Stunt's not there. You're just going to have to rely more on Luchasaurus and on Juggle Jack Perry. So, I mean, as Butcher and the Blade, they do, in theory, look like a really successful team and could be the ones that can really run amok in the tag team division. But just for right now, they just have to be the whipping boys.
Yeah, I did notice that some of the wrestlers that weren't on TV were home. So, SCU, Scorpio Sky was watching from home. Marco Stunt posted on social media that he was watching from home, which was really good. I mean, if they don't really need you on TV, just stay home and you're still getting paid, I'm sure.
I will say, I think Marco Stunt said he was feeling some side effects. So he was staying home out of caution. So he might not be doing too well. So let's hope he's okay.
Let's hope he's okay. Yeah, we don't have really the sound drops like we usually do, but I think we need to make one for what I'm about to say, which is the fact that I think Butcher versus Luchasaurus was the meat slap of the night tonight. Two big, hefty, big boys slapping it out together. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I got all my protein with that match.
With those two guys, you're never going to ask, where's the beef? It's all
With those two guys, you're stocked up for the whole Corona season.
Exactly.
Right, yeah. So we have, Roger, I got to ask you, though, Jungle Express, they get a win here. I feel like they're start and stop a lot. Is it time for them to put up or shut up at this point? Do they need to do something legit, or can they keep kind of going?
Back coming in, and so you have two wrestlers that are kind of, you have two wrestlers.
Has been experience in wrestling.
No, he does, but he's not like a veteran of like 15 years, like 20. He's not like a guy that's, at least as far as I know, maybe I'm wrong. But I think that was some of the criticism, that Luchasaurus is kind of like a stiff wrestler. Like he still has some, I don't want to say some learning to do, but he's just not as crisp as a few other wrestlers. So I feel like putting them together has kind of helped them grow. And I think we've been a part of that growth along the way. I think there's been times where we want more. I mean, I think I remember when Luchasaurus came back a few weeks ago, he got a huge pop. So obviously they're establishing that repertoire with their fans. And so I think they're right on track, honestly. I think there's times when we want more out of them, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah, well, awesome. So that said, speaking of being okay with things, this is typically where I would like to jump into the Elite of the Week. I don't have an Elite of the Week this week.
Elite of the Week.
Cue the music. But I didn't do an Elite of the Week because I felt like everyone did fantastic. I feel like everyone did good. I feel like everyone should be a part of the Elite of the Week. I feel like the amazing job that they did as a company today is great. So what I'm going to do for the Elite of the Week is I'm going to go ahead and give it number 1 through 5 to my mom, Jan Farmer. It is her birthday today. So Mom, this one's for you. Love you. You're my biggest fan. You always check out the show. So thank you so much for watching. Happy birthday, Mom. Love you. Go get a Shamrock Shake from McDonald's. You deserve it. She'll be so mad I called her out on that one.
Mama Farmer.
Mama Farmer.
Shout out to Mama Farmer.
Shout out Mama Farmer. So yeah, so that said, man, I can't believe how good the show was. I am shocked that I feel like they've got a lot of room to keep doing this. I don't know what the deal is for next week. So we'll see, I guess. Because it didn't say next week on the card. It said next Dynamite. So I think that's probably still a work in progress. We'll see. Hopefully we get one next week. I thought they did a great job. And again, I thought this was a great escape for a lot of people. Speaking of great escapes, for a lot of people, something that's always fun to do is interact with each other, chat with each other. Even though we're stuck in our homes doesn't mean we can't still be connected. So before we go, Roger, why don't you go ahead and let everyone know where they can find you online?
You can find me on Twitter, Roger_Corral.
And Anissa?
At Anissa Barr on Instagram and Twitter.
Josh Alonzo.
And before I give the socials, I've been keeping my eye on the chat and everything. So a special shout out to everyone that was in the chat. The Wrestling Hound, Dang MQ, Switch Fan 94, Haywood Wong, someone that's new, Mike Mundell. We have Joseph Boza, Derek Fisher, another new person, Tovia Connaughton. We have, let's see, who else? All the usual suspects and everything. So thank you guys so much. Oh, I forgot to mention External Shockwave, Blade Runner, Arrow, and just so many of you and everything. Just thank you so much for joining us today. I know despite everything that's going on, everyone's just trying to find an escape and just always just keeping that chin up and just having a positive outlook. With that being said, you guys can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at JOAL323.
In true producer form, making sure we get everything in. Make sure to check out Rye Guy in the booth as well online. But you can find me at jackcfarmer.com as well as at Real Jack Farmer across all social media. As is, we still plan on doing the Raw After Show every Monday at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So check me out for that, as well as the AEW social media skim every Monday as well. And of course, right here on AEW Dynamite. So until next time, folks, please do your best and be yourself.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.